Hey, so today we're talking about preparing for our test tomorrow, but for any test. I happened to run into a student that I had 6 years ago. She's now in college. She told me that she's in a chemistry class, and when the professor gave them a periodic table on the first day of class, that all of a sudden she remembered everything that we had practiced on the periodic table brain dump to prepare her for her STAR test. And so when she said that, it made me think, wow, that's pretty powerful. She said, I didn't even remember that I remembered it. And so brain dumps can be a really good tool to use when you are trying to take a test. So the minute that you get your test, you dump all of the stuff that's factual or easy to remember onto a blank sheet of paper. I've given you kind of a scaffold here so that you can see some of the things that we might use, but eventually you would do this just a blank page. So we've got A and we've got bio. What does that remind you of? Hopefully abiotic and biotic. The prefix A means not or without. And so we could write abiotic is non-living, not to be confused with dead, and never was living. We said that bio means life or living. So biology, ology means the study of, biology, study of life. Microbiology would be the study of really small living organisms, things that you could see with a microscope. Pro and eu should remind you of prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Pro rhymes with no, and so when we think prokaryotic, we think no nucleus. And eu rhymes with do. Eukaryotic do have a nucleus. All right. And then we had our mnemonic, does King Philip come over for good soup? I changed it up a little bit. Last year some of the kids like, does Katy Perry cry over finding great songs? But the first letter in that sentence reminds us of the order of classification. And so D stands for domain, and K stood for kingdoms. P was phylum. C was class. O was order. F was we are family. Family. G was genus, not genius, but genus. And S was species. And we said this was from the largest group down to the smallest group. Now, I realized when I was trying to type this up, how could I help us remember the three domains? And it spells out ABE, A-B-E. So the three domains are archaea and bacteria and eukarya. Those are our three domains. There are currently 6 kingdoms, and I came up with a little sentence to help us remember that. All energy passes from plants to animals. Notice the 2 is not the word TO because there's only 6 of these, and so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, eukarya has 4 of those, and we know both of these are prokaryotic. Although that's not a domain, we know both of these are prokaryotic. And so the A and the E, A stands for archaebacteria, which is the kingdom in that domain. And the E stands for eubacteria. That's your everyday bacteria. Eubacteria could remind you of that, everyday bacteria. And then these are your protist or protista, your fungi or fungi, however you want to say it, plantae, and animalia. All right. And so these are all eukaryotic, meaning they have a nucleus, right? Most of them are multicellular. Some of them could be unicellular, specifically protistas are unicellular. And then we have another mnemonic, which was Ms. Grin. This was for the characteristics of life or living organisms. And so we would just put MRSGREN, and that would help you to remember movement, reproduction or reproduce, sensitive to environment, grows, respiration. I'm not talking breathing because not all organisms breathe air, but respiration at a cellular level. And then eliminate waste and needs nutrients, or even you could even say needs energy. And so that is our brain dump. Tomorrow you'll get a blank copy of this. It won't be filled in. Eventually you'll get to the point where you could do a brain dump with just a blank piece of paper. But I'm trying to teach you this skill, and it's really good to do it at the very beginning, even before you put your heading, so that as you read questions, you're not getting confused by the question, and then you forget which one's abiotic, which one's biotic, which one's prokaryotic, which one's eukaryotic. All right, so here's some example questions. These are not questions that are actually on the test, but they're similar to some questions that are on the test. And I want to kind of show you how to break down a question, whether it be in science or ELA, it doesn't really matter. You can use this strategy. A lot of times I see kids that use process of elimination, where they read the question one time, they don't mark anything, they just circle one answer, they put a question mark out beside it, and then they go back and they slash out the other letters. And they think they're using process of elimination because somewhere along the line they were told that they had to have that to show strategies. Folks, that's not process of elimination. That's like making it look like you did it, but you really didn't. So let me explain how you're going to work through questions in my class.